So hello students, our today's topic is the pulmonary function test or the lung functioning test. So why do we need these pulmonary function tests? They are used in assessing the functional status of the respiratory system, either in the physiological form or in the pathological form. Now there are various type of tests that we use. First of all, you should know what are the tests that assesses the ventilation. The lung volumes are the tidal volume, inspiratory reserve volume, expiratory reserve volume, residual volume. What are the lung capacity? They are the vital capacity, inspiratory capacity, functional residual capacity, or the total lung capacity. So you should know all the normal parameters of the pulmonary function test in the adult male. The tidal volume, the value is 500 milliliter. Inspiratory reserve volume, the value is 3000 ml. Expiratory reserve volume, the value is 1100 milliliter. Functional residual capacity, the value is 4600 milliliter. So you should know all these values. Tidal volume, what is tidal volume? It is the volume of air that is breathed in and out of lungs in a single normal quiet respiration. So what does tidal volume signifies? It signifies the normal depth of breathing. So it is the volume inspired or expired during a quiet breathing. Its value is 500 ml in the adults. About 150 ml of this volume fill the airway from the nose and the mouth down to the respiratory bronchioles, and this amount does not take part in the gas exchange. So this is known as anatomical dead space. And the remaining volume is available, that is 350 ml, that is the remaining one. It is available for the alveolar ventilation. The next is the inspiratory reserve volume. What is inspiratory reserve volume? It is additional volume of air that can be inspired forcefully after the end of normal inspiration. So the volume of air that is inspired with the maximum inspiratory effort in excess of the tidal volume is the inspiratory reserve volume. What is its normal value? The normal value is 3300 milliliter or 3.3 liter. Other is the expiratory reserve volume. So what is expiratory reserve volume? It is the additional volume of the air that can be expired out forcefully after the normal expiration, and its value is 1000 milliliter or 1 liter. What is residual volume? The residual volume, it is the volume of air that is remain in the lungs after the forceful expiration. The lungs, they cannot be emptied completely even after the forceful expiration. Some quality of the air always remain in the lung even after the forced expiration. So what is the value of residual volume? The normal residual volume is 1.2 liter. Now let us discuss about the lung capacity. What are the lung capacity? They are the vital capacity, forced vital capacity, inspiratory capacity, or the functional residual capacity, or the total lung capacity. What is inspiratory capacity? So it is the maximum amount of air that is inspired after the normal expiration. So it is the volume of gas that can be inspired from the resting expiratory level. So remember, inspiratory capacity is equal to tidal volume plus the inspiratory reserve volume. Now what was the what was tidal volume? It was 500 milliliter, and inspiratory reserve volume was 3300 milliliter. So inspiratory capacity becomes tidal volume plus inspiratory volume. So the total of 3800 milliliter. So this inspiratory capacity is the maximum amount of air that is inspired. What is vital capacity? Vital capacity is the maximum amount of air that can be expelled out forcefully after a deep inspiration. So the maximum volume of air that can be expired after maximum inspiratory effort is the vital capacity. So vital capacity will include inspiratory reserve volume, tidal volume, and the expiratory reserve volume. So the vital capacity is equal to inspiratory reserve volume plus tidal volume plus expiratory reserve volume. So the value is inspiratory reserve volume was 3300, tidal volume 500, and expiratory reserve volume was 1000. So a total of 4800 milliliter. What is functional residual capacity? The functional residual capacity is the volume of air that remains in the lung after the normal expiration. So the functional residual capacity is equal to expiratory reserve volume plus residual volume. That is 1000 plus 1200, that is 2200 milliliter. A total lung capacity is the volume of air in the lungs after maximum inspiration. It will include all the volumes: inspiratory reserve volume, tidal volume, expiratory reserve volume, and the residual volume. A total of inspiratory reserve volume 3300, tidal volume 500, expiratory reserve volume the value is 1000, and the residual volume the value is 1200. So a total of 6000 milliliter. So the normal value of total lung capacity is 6 liters. So what is the method that is used to measure the lung volume? It is the spirometry, and the instrument that we use for this purpose is the spirometer, or it is also known as respirometer. So the spirometer, it has the air will enter the spirometer from the lungs. The inverted drums, it has an inverted drum and a pen that will move up, and the pen will draw a downward curve on the recording drum. So when the subjects breathe with spirometer during expiration, this drum will move up and the counterweight comes down. So this upward and downward movement of the counterweight, they are recorded in the form of graph. The upward deflection will show inspiration, and the downward deflection in the graph denotes the expiration. Remember, the spirometer, it is used for single breath only. Repeated cycle of respiration cannot be recorded by using this instrument, as the carbon dioxide accumulates in the spirometer and the oxygen or the fresh air cannot be provided to the subject. The respirometer is the modified form of spirometer. It has provision for the removal of the carbon dioxide and supply of oxygen. So the carbon dioxide here, it is removed by placing soda lime inside the instrument. The spirogram is the graphic record of the lung volume and the capacity that we use using spirometer. The upward deflection will show inspiration and the downward curve will represent the expiration. What is the volume that cannot be measured by using spirometry? It is the residual volume. So the capacity, similarly, the capacity that cannot be measured using spirometry are, so just think of the volumes, the capacity that uses residual volume. The capacities that include the residual volume are the functional residual capacity and the total lung capacity. So they are not they. So similarly, they won't be recorded using the using this spirometer. So the volume and capacity that cannot be measured by spirometry, they can be measured by nitrogen washout technique or helium dilution technique or body plethysmography. So the plethysmography, it is based upon the Boyle law of gas, that based upon the principle that the volume of sample of the gas is inversely proportional to the pressure of that gas at that constant temperature. Back to the vital capacity. The vital capacity includes the inspiratory reserve volume, tidal volume, and the expiratory reserve volume. So remember, in females, the vital capacity is less than in males. Vital capacity is more in the heavy build person. It is more in the standing than in lying down. Vital capacity is more in athletes. It is decreased in patients with the sedentary jobs. So what are the conditions in which the vital capacity get decreases? Like in asthma, emphysema, pulmonary congestion, pneumonia, pneumothorax, hemothorax, pyothorax, hydrothorax. These are the diseases in which the vital capacity decreases. What is forced vital capacity? The forced vital capacity is the volume of air that can be exhaled forcefully and rapidly after maximum or deep breathing. So it is the volume of air that can be exhaled out forcefully and rapidly after maximum or deep inspiration. The forced expiratory volume or time vital capacity is the volume of air that can be expired forcefully in the given amount in the given unit of time. So what is the importance of this forced expiratory volume? So this forced expiratory volume, it can be measured in either 1 second, 2 second, or 3 second. So forced expiratory 1 is 83% of total vital capacity, 2 is 94% of total vital capacity, and 3 is 97% of total vital capacity. So this forced expiratory volume has greater diagnostic value in the respiratory diseases, like it is decreased in obstructive disease like asthma and emphysema. It is slightly reduced in the restrictive respiratory diseases like fibrosis of the lung. What is respiratory minute volume? It is the volume that is breathed in and out of lung every minute. It is the product of the tidal volume and the respiratory rate. So respiratory minute volume is tidal volume, that is 500, and respiratory rate is 12. 500 into 12 is equal to 6000 milliliter. So normal respiratory minute volume is 6 liter. It increases in condition like when there is in the exercise and the emotional condition, as the respiratory rate would increase.